Well, hello friends and welcome back. We are talking today about 9 different things that date your home and what we can do about them. So this is a topic that I don't want you to suddenly notice these things about your house and then just hate your house because of this video. What I really hope that this does is maybe help you prioritize what to work on next. Or maybe you're in the market for a new house, new to you kind of a house, and you just need a designer to kind of point out the things to be avoiding, to be factoring into your budget, maybe into your negotiations, things that you want done. Or of course, if you have a new build, these are things that you maybe won't be running into, but you want to make sure that you think about these. So those are my hopes, and let's go ahead and dive in. So number 1 is going to be wall-to-wall carpeting. And we probably all grew up with wall-to-wall carpeting. I mean, it used to be considered very high-end because it was more expensive and it was more plush and more comfortable to walk on. And then of course, as the years and the decades pass by, carpet starts to become very dirty. If you've ever removed carpet, you've pulled it back and you've seen what is all underneath a carpet, it's very disturbing and you think, oh my gosh, I can't believe we ever sat on this carpet or let the baby crawl on the carpet. Those kinds of things can happen if your carpet has been there long enough. But these days, it's really all about hardwood. And as far as color, you're gonna want a medium wood tone. So there's gray, there's orange, there's light, medium, and dark wood. So there's 5 there. That's simplified, but that is enough for you to get started on the wood flooring that you could add into your space. If you had to choose one area to change to wood floors, it would be your main living area, and then keep carpet in the bedrooms. That's always an option. And I don't even think I need to say this, but there should under no circumstances be carpeting in a bathroom. And while you're at it, you could remove the little fuzzy toilet seat cover and the little mat that goes around the toilet as well. That could go at this point. Okay, number 2. Honey oak cabinetry. And this was, of course, very popular in the 80s and the 90s. The good news about honey oak cabinets is that they are wood. And even though the panel style may be like a raised panel door, and now we're kind of in the shaker style, I don't think that that's the important thing. I think it's the color to focus on. If your cabinets are in good shape, consider painting them or refinishing them. You know, I teach a whole class in my behind the scenes group. That's my coaching design group that meets every week. And I just did a class in there with Colby, and we talked about hiring contractors and when to hire them and, you know, the process, the things you're looking for. And one of the things that we think you should hire out is actually having your kitchen cabinets painted, which is not cheap, but there's a reason it's not cheap, because it is so much harder than you think it is and so much more disruptive to your daily life. So consider hiring it out. That is a place to splurge. Number 3 are popcorn ceilings. So you know what I'm talking about. It's when they've oversprayed texture on the ceiling. Sometimes it has glitter in it. And that definitely instantly will date a house. You walk in and you go, oh yeah, this has not been updated, or this is not new. We had a lot of popcorn ceilings in our house when we bought it. I did see someone, I think it was on Instagram, get the ceiling all wet. And so that popcorn ceiling was just getting mushy. And then she took a paint scraper. I literally think she duct taped it to her shop vac and scraped along the ceiling and just sucked up all the debris as it came down. Now, some of these popcorn ceilings do have asbestos in them, so you might not want to go down that path, or you just feel like that sounds way too hard. You can plank your ceiling. You can do, you know, like a shiplap or a beadboard across your ceiling. That looks fantastic, very classic looking. So that's an option too. Number 4, colored sinks, tubs, toilets, and I mean even black. Black doesn't seem as offensive as maybe turquoise, but it is. It is, and it will date a bathroom so quickly, and there's nothing you can do but replace it. When people are buying new homes, new to them homes, the two places that they want to rip out immediately are bathrooms and kitchens. And that's because people do really trendy things in bathrooms and kitchens. I don't know why. It's very expensive to change them. I think because they feel like they have more options, but it's really not true. It's true in that you have more options for the hard finishes, meaning the pieces that are gonna stay when you move out. But honestly, decor is gonna take a look way farther than some tile. Number 5, vertical blinds. If you've lived around these, you know what I'm talking about. They feel cheap. They're plasticky, you push them open, they sound bad, then they start falling apart, and you've got like 3 slats that aren't there, and I would stay away from plastic blinds, period. Take those things down, get some good drapes in there. I mean, oh my gosh, if you were to look on Facebook Marketplace at custom drapery, there's so many good things out there, really expensive fabrics, really nice pinch pleat options that could work. And even for like a sliding door, I think having drapes even off to one side, so asymmetrical, I think that can look great. I would much rather do that than have vertical blinds. If you want custom drapes, I am crazy about 2 pages. That's where I get all of my drapes from. You can have your drapes ordered in about 20 minutes. You pick your fabric. I would get I have swatches actually on my desk here. Get your swatches in, pick out your fabric, and then you literally fill out this form with like the size of your window, the type of pleats that you want, the type of liner you want, and boom, they send you the exact right size of drapes. And I'm really never going back to trying to do this any other way. So along the lines of easy ways to upgrade your home, I am also a big fan of easy ways to upgrade your health. Colby and I have been taking AG1 for over a year now, and we honestly can't say enough good things about it. I think my favorite thing about it is how easy it is. So AG1 is a daily health drink. It's just 1 scoop of green powder, but in that green powder is over 75 different vitamins, minerals, prebiotics, probiotics, enzymes, superfoods. It is an amazing product, and they've had 4 clinical studies showing how a person's gut bacteria can increase by 10 times when using AG1. We've noticed that our sleep is better, our skin is better, our digestion is better. So if you are looking for just a simple way to boost your energy, support your gut health, and fill those nutrient gaps, I want you to try AG1. They're offering a deal through the end of April, so limited time deal. You're gonna get some sample packs with different flavors. Now they have me at the original flavor, which is, I would say, like a pineapple vanilla flavor, but you can try all of their flavors. And they also are going to include a free bottle of the D3K2 drops. I use those every day. You're going to get their amazing welcome starter kit. This is when you first sign up, and it's over a $72 value. So do not dally. I will put the link in the description below. Okay, I'm hesitating saying number 6 because I don't want to hurt some feelings. I sound like a Grinch when I say this, but I just have to say it because I'm your friend. The signs with words on them, on just some cheap, particle board, they're kind of done. They were overdone. And you could just walk through your house and just pick those things out, and they can go away. As I was writing this, like what I wanted to tell you, I was looking around my house, and I do have signs. Like, I have an office sign, I have a toilet sign on my bathroom, I have a laundry sign over my laundry room. But every sign I have that has a word on it looks like it was maybe 100 years old. So it's made of metal, or it's gilded gold, or it's something that is from France. So I think you can do it, and I do think it's very charming. I do. But the mass-produced sort of Hobby Lobby particle board type stuff is, it's hurting design at this point. I would rather you take those things out. You can still live, laugh, love in your own life, but take the signs down and replace them with old books or a candle or a fern or something like that. And that's just such an easy win. So I'm sorry if I hurt your feelings on that one though. Number 7, matching furniture. Okay, I grew up in the 70s and the 80s, and I remember my parents thinking, it was just a generational thing where in their mind, the day that they bought a matching bedroom set, so the bed frame, the nightstands, the dresser, the armoire, everything was exactly the same style, same hardware, same wood. And the day that they bought that was the day that they had arrived. It was like, welcome to adulthood. And they felt so wealthy, and they knew that they would never replace it. And they still haven't. It's still the same furniture 50 years later. And dining room furniture is the same. Chairs match a table. I am not actually a fan of that. I think that is a quick win to switch out your chairs and have your chairs not match the table. That's a very designer little tip for you there. Also, like the living room furniture. Gone are the days of matching love seat, armchair, sofa. And you know what? That's really good news, because if you're like me and you just want to go on Facebook Marketplace, or you want to change things out and you love a good accent chair, you know what? It works. It works. And you've got to think about the style of the chair, the legs. You can't clash styles. You need to have undertones matching and things like that. But it's just really a fun time to be putting bedroom sets together, living room sets, because they don't have to all match anymore. And so have fun with that. For any of you that are still interested in joining me for my spring bespoke design retreat, there are spots still available. It is the middle of May, and registration is going to close on Saturday, April 11th. Okay, number 8. Traditional ceiling fans. And I know this is a rough one as well. And you know what? I live in Washington State. It rains 9 months out of the year here. I do not understand the sweltering heat of Texas and Florida and the mugginess that people deal with. And so I am never going to tell a client that they can never have a ceiling fan. I don't think that's true. I'm gonna try to sway you away from the ceiling fan that has lights on it. That's what I mean by traditional ceiling fan. And I had a lot of ceiling fans in this house when I moved in. And I remember I took them all out except for the one by our wood stove, because we heat with a wood stove, and so we've got to disperse that heat. It's very practical. And I remember one of our contractors was mocking me for that and said, "Oh, you'll be back. Like, you'll want those back in your house." Because we don't have AC or anything, but we don't really need it. Old houses, it's really interesting to study the old house architecture. They were specifically designed for airflow. So almost every room in our house has windows on both sides, if not like 3 sides of the room, because that was the plan, is that you would open all the windows and the air would just flow. Okay, so back to my southern folks that are dealing with heat. You have to have ceiling fans. I'm with you on that. You have to have ceiling fans. You just want to stay away from ceiling fans with lights. I would much rather you have a lot of lamps instead of your light coming from a ceiling fan. There are 3 good options that I tell people about ceiling fans. One is to go for a very industrial style ceiling fan. That's what I have now in my fireside room. And I think I paid $30 for my fan off of Craigslist back in the day, and I even painted the blades to look like faux wood, and I painted the rest of it with an oil rubbed bronze, because that will give you that industrial look, and it's great. That's one option. Another thing you can do is get what's called a fandelier or a hugger fan. These have come out in the last few years, and they're just pretty fans. So it's a fan inside of kind of a chandelier that's a flush mount, up on this, real close to the ceiling. A hugger fan, also very close to the ceiling. They've really come a long way in the last few years. And then my third, and I would say my least favorite option, but it's still a great option, is to just have the ceiling fan the color of the ceiling, so it blends in as much as possible. White ceiling, white fan. Yeah, that can work too. So, and a lot of these things, if there's no light on it, you can dress it up yourself with spray paint and just keep trucking. Number 9 are doors. The doors in the house. And standard doors these days are those hollow core doors. There's no detail on them. There's nothing design-wise that's happening there. And honestly, doors and windows, there's such an opportunity there to make them a feature in your home. And so you can do a few things. I think it's reasonable to do these one door at a time even. So don't get discouraged. I think you could change out a door by adding a picture molding, adding the rectangles on to the door and dress them up. My good friend did that in her house. She just did one door at a time, then she painted them and it looks great. You could do that, or you could change them out with true old doors. And I love looking for doors on Facebook Marketplace, in my architectural salvage yards. Habitat for Humanity will often have them. So keep your eyes open for good doors. Just know your measurements that you want. And I think you can just slowly trade your doors out one by one. Also, do not neglect doorknobs. I get this question a lot. People will ask, is it all right if my doorknobs do not all match? Because that will stop you in your tracks. Like, how am I going to get 12 different doorknobs to all match at the salvage yard? I don't think you need to match your doorknobs at all. I don't think any of my doorknobs match in my house, and I think it's kind of fun. I'm just kind of always collecting beautiful ones. Each room has its own special doorknob. I think there's a lot of freedom in that. And if you really want to take it to the next level, think about the molding around your door, and you can build that out. You can put a cornice up above the top. There's just so much to be done with doors. So do not neglect your doors. If it's a new build, if it is the current house you're in, or you are just looking at an older house to buy. Okay, I hope that helps. And if you need more hands-on assistance, we do e-design in my Dear House Society, and I would love to help you update your home if you are in the market for that. All right, thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I will talk to you soon.